He gave the bone broth I simmered since 5 in the morning, and the pan-seared cod to his secretary. The secretary posted on social media, "This is the CEO night's feast for the tummy ache." And he shared a bowl of instant noodles, saying, "A long-lost taste." Margaret's phone immediately rang off the hook. "How can you be a wife?" I scoffed, dialing the supermarket. 100 boxes of instant noodles, delivered to Sterling Lobby. As soon as I walked through the door, Cameron, the general assistant, sent me a message. It was a screenshot of a social media post by Marcus' new secretary, Chloe. She had posted a picture of a lunchbox. The dishes inside were artfully arranged, with meat, vegetables, and fish, all nutritionally balanced. It was clearly a carefully prepared meal. Chloe's social media caption read, "The formidable CEO night vanquished the instant demon, and protected the tummy ache." I was utterly confused as to why the packed lunch I had prepared for Marcus had ended up in his secretary's hands. Before I could react, Cameron sent another message. "Check social media." I hesitantly opened my social media feed and immediately felt my blood boil. Marcus, who barely posted once a year, had actually put up a post. The photo showed a bucket of spicy beef instant noodles, and a hand holding a plastic fork. The caption read, "A familiar taste I've missed. That jerk Marcus." He ignored the packed lunch I'd carefully prepared for him, gave it to his secretary, and then went and ate instant noodles himself. I was about to call him to demand an explanation when Margaret's phone call came in. As soon as I hit the answer button, before I could even bring the phone to my ear, Margaret's torrent of complaints poured through the line. "Grace, what's going on with you? Why didn't you prepare lunch for Marcus today? Don't you know he has a sensitive stomach and can't handle spicy food? How could you let him eat junk food like instant noodles?" "Margaret, I did make him lunch." "You made lunch? If you made lunch, why would he be eating instant noodles?" Margaret abruptly cut me off. "I just called Marcus, and he said you went shopping today, and forgot to prepare his lunch. You don't do anything all day, you don't even go to the company, and you can't even manage to cook one meal for him." I couldn't be bothered to argue with her any longer. I hung up the phone, and immediately sent her a screenshot of Chloe's social media post. "See that? Your son fed the meal I painstakingly made for him to the dogs." Silence on Margaret's end. I felt a knot of anger in my chest. I just wanted to see some retribution right then. That jerk Marcus, not only did he give the lunch I prepared for him to his secretary, but he also posted on social media to respond to that jerk, and even lead to his mom, saying I hadn't made him any food. He was flirting with his secretary at the company, yet I was the one being blamed. He knew perfectly well that spicy food upset his stomach, but he insisted on eating that bowl of instant noodles, probably because he knew I'd be there waiting on him hand and foot every time his stomach hurt. Since he liked that familiar taste so much, I decided to indulge him. That afternoon, a supermarket delivery truck pulled up right in front of Sterling. The loaders opened the cargo bay door and started stacking boxes of Dash instant noodles directly in the company lobby. Emily, the receptionist, hurried over. Stop. Did you deliver to the wrong address?" I stepped out from behind the truck. The receptionist saw me and quickly bowed. "Madam, good afternoon. No mistake, it's supposed to be delivered here." I pointed to the mountain of instant noodles that was quickly piling up and instructed the receptionist, "Later, have someone send all 100 boxes of instant noodles to the CEO's office." With that, I walked directly into the elevator. In the office, Marcus' face turned ashen as he watched box after box of instant noodles being brought in. "Grace, can you please stop making a scene? I just saw that she had an upset stomach and was eating instant noodles, so I gave her the meal you made for me. She and I have a purely professional relationship. Nothing is going on between us. Marcus, it doesn't have to be sleeping together for it to be cheating. You know best what's truly in your heart. You are enjoying this ambiguous atmosphere right now, you are enjoying the adoring way she looks at you. With so many people in the company, would you give someone else my meal if they had a stomachache? I've been married to you for so long, you can't possibly think I don't know what kind of person you truly are, can you? Right after you posted that social media update, your mom called to call me to account. Tell me, what did you tell your mom? The office door opened, and Chloe walked in, carrying a coffee, dressed in a white dress and white canvas shoes. She was sickeningly innocent, a type I wasn't good at handling. "Miss Grace, your coffee." I picked up the coffee and without hesitation, splashed it all over her. Chloe shrieked. Instead of stepping back to dodge, her steps turned into a movement that made her fall toward Marcus. Marcus reached out to steady Chloe, his face clearly flared up. "Grace, are you never going to stop? This is the company, not our home. Nobody here will tolerate your behavior." I sneered, looking at the fragile innocent, in his arms, on the verge of tears. "Hold her tighter. Push a little harder and your CEO Knight might just divorce me, letting you, the tummy ache, take over." Hearing my words, both of their faces blushed, and they quickly separated. I pointed at Chloe, soaked in coffee. "Marcus, how dare you say you don't play favorites? What did she call me when she came in just now? Ms. Grace, am I not married to you, yet, or am I some illegitimate mistress, who can be seen in public? Did you tacitly approve of her calling me Ms. Grace? Are you trying to divorce me? All female employees in the company wear suit skirts, and black stockings and high heels are mandatory, even for me. So what's with her outfit? Is this your new perversion?" A flicker of embarrassment crossed Marcus' eyes, like a cheating student caught with a cheat sheet by the invigilator during an exam. "What nonsense are you talking about? She just hasn't found suitable clothes yet, which is why I let her wear her own clothes to work for now. Don't overthink it. Marcus, she's been working for almost a month. What kind of clothes take a month to buy? Even a sloth would have found clothes by now. I'm done with this. You deal with it." I pointed to the instant noodles in the hallway. "Starting tomorrow, I won't be cooking for you. Whenever you are done reminiscing about these 100 boxes of instant noodles, then I'll resume cooking for you. You don't like my cooking, right? So, from now on, you can live with these instant noodles." Marcus' face showed impatience. "Can you stop making a scene? When did I ever say I didn't like your cooking? So you do like it, then." I took a lunch box from my bag, opened the lid, and placed it in front of him. "Eat up. You like it, don't you?" Marcus slapped the table with a loud smack. "Grace, are you insane? What do you mean by putting dog food in a lunchbox? It's the meal I prepared for you. Didn't you like feeding my food to the dogs?" My gaze fell on Chloe, who was standing nearby. "Tummy ache? This is the dinner your humble servant specifically prepared for you. Eat it. What are you waiting for?" Chloe, covered in coffee stains, stood behind Marcus with her head bowed, her aggrieved tears streaming down like pearls, trickling so diligently that anyone unaware would think the CEO had just installed a new shower in his office. "Chloe, if you have ambitions of becoming the CEO's wife, you should know that these jerks like a seemingly parasitic dodder flower, metaphor for a dependent woman, like you, but they would never allow a useless person who constantly cries and wipes tears to become their partner. If you only want to be a wealthy man's kept woman, or remain an illegitimate mistress for life, then keep crying and see if your CEO Knight will marry you, the tummy ache. If you want to get rid of me and take over, then show some determination to go from mistress to legitimate wife." I pushed the lunchbox containing dog food further toward her. "Eat it. As long as you eat it, Marcus will 100% side with you against me, this frumpy wife, and then you'll be one step closer to your goal of becoming the young Mrs. Marcus. If you want to be a wealthy socialite, but are too afraid to compromise your reputation, then you'll just be someone to be used and admired for a specific purpose without real worth, for the rest of your life." Chloe clearly didn't listen to my words, her tears flowed even more profusely. "Miss Grace, I am just a secretary, but that doesn't mean I have no dignity. You are insulting my integrity. Mr. Marcus and I have never overstepped boundaries. You are judging me with your malice. Insulting your integrity. You don't have a mirror, but you've got a reflection somewhere, why don't you take a look?" I sneered. "Never overstepped boundaries. You actually have the nerve to say that. As a secretary, you can't even dress properly. Does your outfit look like a secretary's attire? If you went out to a business meeting with your boss dressed like that, do you think the other party would see you as his secretary, or a toy he brought along to show off? Chapter 8. A secretary, who eats her boss lunch and is smugly pleased about it. Your job as a secretary is to solve problems for your boss, not create them. If you truly possess dignity, you should resign with dignity and leave now, instead of standing here crying, and pretending to be weak, seeking the CEO Knight's protection. Enough. Marcus kicked the lunch box full of dog food, sending it flying. Grace, don't keep pushing your luck. This is the company, and this is my personal secretary. What right do you have to treat my employee like this? Dog food scattered everywhere, but I stood there like a statue, letting the kibble hit me, unmoving. Marcus, I'm giving you 2 choices now. 1, you keep your tummy ache, and we get a divorce. 2, you fire her, and I can pretend nothing happened, and I won't bring up old grievances again. 1 or 2, you choose. Impossible. Marcus replied without hesitation. The company has its rules and regulations. No one has the right to fire an employee without cause. I nodded. Good, I understand. With that, I got up and walked straight out. Marcus hurried after me, grabbing my arm. Grace, can you please stop making a scene? Let go. I yanked his hand away. Marcus, you made your choice. Why are you grabbing me now? It's the 21st century. Don't tell me you are still planning to build yourself a harem. Are you going to elevate her to an equal wife, or are you just going to make her a concubine? Grace, can you listen to me? Get out. The first thing I did when I got home was delete Marcus's fingerprint from the electronic lock. You can come home when you redone reminiscing about those 100 boxes of instant noodles. Marcus actually sulked, and didn't he come home that evening? Cameron sent me another message. Chloe had posted another social media update, with a Van Arpels bracelet on her wrist, that was exceptionally glaring. The caption, a unique consolation prize, a little treat just for the princess. Today I might not be a Van Arpels member, but that doesn't mean I won't be one tomorrow. With a single phone call and a few messages, the Van Arpels store manager swore on his honor over the phone, assuring me, Ms. Grace, rest assured. Even if I have to run myself ragged tonight, I will absolutely gather all the items you requested. The next morning, everyone in the company received gifts from the CEO's wife. Every female employee received a bracelet identical to the one in Chloe's social media post, and every male employee received a Van Arpels watch. The condition for receiving the gift was that everyone had to take a photo and post it on social media with the caption, an equal opportunity bonus, a little treat from the CEO's wife. Connecting this to Chloe's social media post from the previous night, everyone throughout the company cast scornful glances her way. Several department heads, who were my people, openly mocked her directly in the comment section of her social media post. A church dove won't kiss a crow, and you won't starve if you just stay in the loo. Others are unique fireworks, but you are a cheap sparkler. Beautiful without fragrance, refined without grace, like a misspelled common name. From that day on, everyone in the company began to ostracize Chloe. A small gift worth tens of thousands of dollars was enough to unite them. Even's former, good friends, in the company, with whom she used to share everything, started looking at her with the eyes reserved for a mistress. Chloe couldn't understand it. Before, when she had the CEO's favor, these same people had looked at her with envy, but in the blink of an eye, they began to point fingers, some even openly discussing her, calling her a toad wanting to eat swan meat. The bracelet, which she had imbued with special meaning, the one that made her feel on cloud 9 and believe she could take their relationship further, now felt like a stinging slap in the face, hitting her hard. This very bracelet on her wrist had brazenly become the culprit behind her ridicule and isolation at the company. She cried and knocked on Marcus' office door, placing the bracelet in front of him. Mr. Marcus, I appreciated the sentiment, but please take this bracelet back. Since we got married, this was the fiercest argument Marcus and I had ever had. He stormed home and in front of me smashed the jade inlaid room divider engraved with our wedding photo. He also shattered a pair of porcelain items I had specially commissioned in a historic pottery town. Grace, I never realized you were so petty before that you'd even get jealous over a secretary. She's just a fresh graduate. Do you really need to make such a big fuss to deal with her? I already told you, nothing is going on between us. Why won't you just leave her alone? I calmly watched the mess in the room, as if the things he smashed had nothing to do with me. Nothing going on. I looked directly into his eyes. If she had an upset stomach, what you should have done was give her time off to go to the hospital for a checkup, not use the lunch I prepared for you as a tool for flirting with girls. That bracelet is just a few bucks to you, but to her, it's months of salary. With so many people in the company, why did you give it to her specifically and not to anyone else? Marcus explained, sounding self-righteous. That's because you got suspicious and made her cry. I was afraid she'd go around talking nonsense, so I bought the bracelet to clean up your mess. Do I need you to clean up my mess? I'm a grown woman, can't I take responsibility for my own actions? Marcus, Don T acts so innocent. Do you really think I Don T know your dirty thoughts? You see every social media post she makes. She even came home and argued with me. Because of her, now you have two women competing for your attention. Are you smugly pleased? Do you feel really accomplished? I pointed to the shattered pieces on the floor. This room divider was a gift from my dad before we got married, placed at the entrance. The wedding photo carved from a single piece of jade, took almost 3 months just to make. The glaze on that pair of porcelain vases you smashed, I learned it bit by bit with a master craftsman, and then I meticulously etched our names onto them. And that jadeite fan with our names on it, you stepped on it without a moment's hesitation. Everything you destroyed was acquired when we got married. Now, tell me, what does this mean? As I spoke, the fury quickly subsided from Marcus' face, replaced by an anxious expression. Grace, let me explain. No need to explain. I understand what you mean. I casually picked up the large crystal figurine from the table. I have a history of domestic violence, so you should file for divorce. When and Margaret arrived at the hospital, Marcus had just finished having his wounds bandaged. His head was wrapped in bandages, circle after circle, making him look like an oil prince at first glance. Margaret lost composure on the spot when she saw her prince. Grace, are you insane? Who hits their husband like this? Can't you just sit down and talk things through? Why resort to violence? I raised my hand. Margaret, don't worry, I didn't hit him. He was hit with something I threw. That's even worse. Why did you throw something at him? I turned my head to look at the prince on the hospital bed. Marcus, why did I throw something at you? Aren't you going to explain? Marcus remained silent, turning his head away. Fine, if you won't talk, I will. I pointed to Henry, who had remained silent. Margaret, actually, our fight was all because of my dad. He has something he's been hiding from you. Henry's eyelid twitched. Me, what could I possibly be hiding from your mom? My recently met a woman in her 40s, he's called her over for dinner at home when you weren't around, and even bought her jewelry. I've seen it more than once, or twice. But he told me not to tell you, and insisted that she was just a friend, that nothing was going on between them. When I said I'd tell you, my dad even scolded me for meddling. Hearing me say this, Henry's nose twisted with anger. Grace, is this how David and Sarah raised you? Are you slandering me like this, in front of your mother-in-law? Shut up. Margaret let out a shriek that startled everyone in the room. Oh, so that's it, Marcus, derogatory address. I knew you'd been picking a fight with me lately. So, you've been keeping a younger woman outside. I quickly pulled Margaret closer. Margaret, don't get too agitated. I truly didn't do anything more than take that woman out for meals and give her gifts. He hasn't had any further development with her. I can guarantee that's still not okay. Even having the thought is not okay. Margaret's face turned red. Having that intention is not okay. Cheating is cheating. Is there a difference between physical cheating and emotional cheating? Are there different shades of betrayal when it comes to being a cuckold? Margaret, you have to consider the bigger picture. Are you really going to divorce my dad over such a trivial matter? Besides, my dad made this mistake for the first time. Just forgive him. Margaret glared. Forgive him? Why should I forgive him? If I forgive him for something like this again, I'll have to make room for that little bitch. Henry's face turned green with anger. Don't listen to her nonsense. There's no woman, she's lying to you. Margaret was about to start scolding, but I quickly nodded. Yes, there's no such woman at all. I made all of this up. Both of them froze simultaneously. What? You made this up? I nodded. Yes, I made it all up. My doesn't know any woman like that. I pointed to Marcus, who was practically burying his head in his pants. But the prototype for this story is your son. Your son gave the meal I made for him to his secretary, and he ate instant noodles himself. Then he went and gave that secretary a new luxury bracelet. I asked him to fire that woman, and not only did he refuse, he stubbornly kept her by his side as his secretary. I just had someone at the company give her a hard time, and your son immediately turned on me. Just now, to get back at me for the secretary, he trashed the house. Everything related to our marriage was smashed by him. Do you think this is a coincidence, or is he implying something to me? I looked at Margaret, who still had a bewildered look on her face. Margaret, if the same thing happened to you, you wouldn't be able to stand just hearing about it. But now this is happening to your son, and it's even worse than the example I just gave. You surely wouldn't advise me to be more magnanimous, would you? Margaret's face drooped, looking like a Shar-Pei at first glance. Even with his head cracked open by me, Marcus still didn't agree to a divorce. Grace, I know I made some mistakes in this matter, but I promise nothing like this will ever happen again. Please, give me another chance, okay? All right, then tell me, how are you going to resolve this? Marcus thought for a moment. I'll transfer her to another department so she won't be my secretary anymore. Would that be acceptable? Hey, I scoffed, getting up to leave. Marcus, goodbye. With that, I pushed open the hospital room door and walked straight out. Margaret quickly chased after me, grabbing my arm. Grace, why are you so temperamental? We can talk things over, can't we? I yanked her hand away. Talk? Talk about what? If my dad brought that woman home to be a nanny, do you think that would be up for discussion? If he wasn't interested in that woman, would he be so reluctant to let her go? Margaret, there's nothing more to say. Your son and I are not fated. If you have time, go ask that secretary if she's willing to take over your daughter-in-law's job. I'm done. With that, I turned and left, closing the elevator door before Prince could catch up, letting Marcus' voice fade into the distance. 3 days later, I boarded a plane to leave the country. Before I left, I threw everything in the house that was related to me into the yard, and then burned it all to ashes. Before I boarded the plane, my dad patted my shoulder. Grace, no matter what path you choose, Dad supports you. I've already made arrangements over there. In a few days, I'll have your mom join you abroad, so don't have any psychological burden. Don't worry. If that Marcus, derogatory address, dares to set foot in our house, I'll break his legs. As the plane soared into the clouds, I looked at the city fading into the distance, and let out a soft sigh. Before leaving, I had a final internal struggle, and ultimately decided to give Marcus one last chance. But just as I was about to push open the hospital room door, close bell-like laughter drifted out from inside. The laughter was heavy, so heavy it weighed down my hand as I tried to open the door. Through the window on the door, I saw Chloe sitting on Marcus' hospital bed, a flushed face, feeding him slices of apple piece by piece. Margaret sat in the chair opposite, laughing so hard that her face scrunched up with laughter, like a crude visual metaphor for an old, wrinkled face distorted by laughter. Isn't this girl pretty? So gentle and caring. Much better than that Grace. No wonder our Marcus likes her. Chloe giggled, covering her mouth. Margaret, you are too kind. I'm just Mr. Marcus' secretary. How can I compare to Miss Grace? How can't you? That has no upbringing whatsoever. She's always making me angry, making you angry. She can't even take care of her own husband properly. If it weren't for the business ties with her family, I would have made Marcus divorce her long ago. Marcus looked down, his face expressionless. That's enough, Margaret, stop talking nonsense. I'm not going to divorce Grace. Chloe's hand trembled, and the apple she was offering fell to the floor. Oh dear, I'm so sorry, Mr. Marcus. It's all my clumsiness. Marcus looked up, a hint of indulgence in his eyes. It's fine. Just wipe it off. Outside the hospital room, I walked away briskly, without a trace of hesitation in my eyes. I stayed abroad for a full year. During that year, Cameron, the general assistant, would send me updates on Marcus' situation irregularly. The company ran normally, and Marcus went to work every day as usual, as if everything was proceeding in an orderly way. Only seemed out of place. Although she made constant mistakes, someone always stepped up to take the blame for her at critical moments, so her career at the company was smooth sailing. From secretary to assistant, from assistant to special assistant, and then from special assistant to deputy general assistant. Cameron said that if I had returned a month later, the HR department would probably have been talking to her. I don't see Mr. Marcus overstepping boundaries with her, but I haven't seen anything happening privately, and I won't speculate wildly. She's been promoted too quickly, and you haven't shown up at the company for a long time. There are already some rumors in the company, and even privately, some people who like flattering are starting to call her madam. Oh, and Mr. Marcus goes back to the Sterling family estate every weekend, and Chloe goes with him, but she doesn't stay overnight. Looking at the messages from Cameron, I knew she wasn't having an easy time. If it weren't for the task I entrusted her with, she probably would have tendered her resignation long ago. No need to force yourself, I've already saved a position for you. At Vance as executive president you can resign, and come anytime you want. Cameron sent a smirking emoji, knowing you coming back. I submitted my resignation letter yesterday. I sent a handshake emoji, welcome to Vance, Vice Cameron. After finishing my chat with Cameron, I opened Marcus' chat box. That year, he had called me countless times, but I hung up every time. Later, his calls became less frequent, and for the past 3 months, he had barely called at all. He knew I had people planted in the company, yet he continued doing as he pleased, promoting Chloe, whose work was riddled with flaws, to the position of general assistant. This meant he wasn't afraid of me knowing at all. There were only 2 possibilities for this situation: 1, he had given up hope on me, or 2, he truly had no further intentions toward Chloe and their relationship was purely professional. But he was truly too careless, because while I didn't have anyone at the Sterling family estate, Cameron did. Looking at the empty chat box, I sent him 2 messages. I'm back. You have 2 days to clear out everything belonging to irrelevant people from the mansion. If I see anything I shouldn't, I can't guarantee what I might do. As soon as I sent that message, there was an immediate response from the other end. Because I saw the status bar continuously showing, the other party is cheating. This status lasted for about a minute before Marcus finally sent a single message. Okay, I understand. After getting off the plane, my dad personally came to pick me up at the airport. I stayed at my parents' house for 2 days, letting my dad enjoy some quality family time. It wasn't until the afternoon of the 3rd day that I packed a car full of belongings and headed back to the mansion with 2 nannies. Before going to the mansion, I made a special trip to the Sterling family estate. I had a room there, and I needed to retrieve some of my things. When I pushed open the mansion door, Marcus was having dinner with Henry and Margaret. The 4 of them were harmonious and joyful. Chloe was sitting in my old seat, saying something that made Margaret giggle. She had clearly taken on the role of the lady of the house. My sudden arrival, as an uninvited guest, caught everyone off guard. Margaret and Chloe's smiles froze on their faces when they saw me unexpectedly appear. Marcus immediately stood up, looking utterly embarrassed, like a stray dog secretly brought home by parents had been discovered. Henry, on the other hand, was expressionless. He was severely nearsighted, and didn't usually wear his glasses, so he couldn't tell genders within 15 feet, and couldn't tell humans from animals beyond 30. Upon realizing it was me, a hint of resentment and reproach appeared in his eyes, but he didn't say much more. Oh. Still eating, I see. I walked past the dining table, casually picked a peeled shrimp from Marcus' bowl, and popped it into my mouth, acting as naturally as if I'd just been there that morning. You all eat. I'm just here to pick up some things, and then I'll leave. Ignoring the people at the table, I went straight upstairs to the room, put the items from the drawer into my bag, and turned to leave, only to see Marcus blocking the doorway. Grace, I gently pushed him aside. No need to explain. As I walked past him, he reached out, grabbed me, and pulled me into a hug. Honey, I missed you so much. I didn't struggle, just gently patted his back. Let go. Your girlfriend is watching. Marcus froze for a moment, then turned to see Chloe, who had followed him, standing at the top of the stairs, watching us. A hint of embarrassment appeared on his face. Honey, listen to me, things aren't what you think. It's fine. You bring her back to the Sterling family estate every week, don't you? I know all about it. I said. I patted his face, giving a forced smile. No need to explain to me. With that, I walked straight downstairs, not even glancing at Chloe as I passed her. Outside the Sterling family estate, I pulled open the car door, and had just sat down when Marcus rushed out. Honey, wait. Before I could lock the car door, he yanked it open. Grace, let me explain. His words caught in his throat, and a look of disbelief flashed across his face. He froze as if under a paralyzing spell, holding the car door open, his eyes fixed on the interior of the car. What is this? In the spacious nanny van's back seat, a car seat was installed, holding a tiny, pink little munchkin, sleeping soundly with his eyes closed. Oh, him, you mean? I glanced at the sleeping little munchkin, my eyes filled with unconcealed maternal affection. My son. I gave Marcus, who was frozen in place, a polite smile. Don't stare. He's not yours. Please close the door. Thank you. Marcus went mad. He drove his car closely behind my nanny van, and Henry and Margaret's car followed closely behind his. Chloe's red Ferrari brought up the rear, looking unusually conspicuous. I ignored the convoy trailing behind me like train cars, letting them follow all the way to the mansion. The two nannies were quick and efficient. They swiftly set up the bedroom and placed Dash in the crib. Dash was already awake, his big eyes darting around like a heart stealer, firmly gripping the hearts of the three people downstairs. I fed him, and the nanny patted out a booming burp from him, before placing him back in the crib. I went downstairs to find Henry, and Margaret pacing back and forth in the living room, looking so restless he looked like he had ants in his pants, pacing incessantly. Marcus grabbed my hand. Grace, what on earth is going on? What do you mean, what's going on? Marcus was clearly agitated. The child. I mean the child. What's going on with him? Didn't I tell you? He's my son, born from an affair during our marriage. You don't need to have any psychological burden. Grace, what nonsense are you talking? Margaret was truly anxious, even while scolding me. Her eyes never left the second-floor bedroom door. That's Marcus's child. I could tell the moment he started crying. Oh, your ears are that good. Can they replace DNA tests now? Margaret was as anxious as if she had ants in her pants. Let me see the baby. Let me see the baby. Just one glance, please. You can look, but don't scare my son. Before I could finish, the three of them were already on the second floor. I didn't time them, but I guarantee Henry and Margaret went upstairs faster than Usain. I followed upstairs and found Marcus and his parents standing by the crib. The excitement was almost bursting from their faces, and Margaret was so overwhelmed she tightly covered her mouth, tears like a faucet. He's so much like him, a spitting image of Marcus, when he was little. Henry nodded. He's a carbon copy. Seeing pushing her luck, reaching out to touch Dash's little face, I coughed and cleared my throat. You've seen him. Come out now, the baby needs to sleep soon. Henry and Margaret kept looking back as they left the room, as if they had left their eyeballs in the room. Downstairs, Marcus immediately questioned me. Grace, why did you hide the fact that you had a child from me? Why? Because was afraid your girlfriend wouldn't be happy. The villa door was pushed open, and David walked in with a stern expression, his gaze on Marcus almost enough to tear him alive. I bought this villa. This is my home. I don't welcome you here. Get out. Margaret didn't dare to speak harshly now. Mr. David, we can talk things through. The kids just had a minor disagreement. It shouldn't lead to divorce, should it? Shouldn't. David glared. What were you doing when Grace was pregnant? What were you doing when Grace gave birth to Dash? Now is back with the child, and what are you doing? He pointed to the red Ferrari outside the villa. Damn it. Bringing the other woman to see the child. Your family values are truly permissive, aren't they? Marcus, you haven't divorced my daughter yet, and you are bringing the other woman to my house to see the child. Do you think I'm dead? Marcus looked earnest, almost kneeling before David. Dad, listen to me, David stepped forward, grabbing Marcus by his collar and dragging him towards the door. I'm not listening. Get out. Get out fast. The farther the better. He then pushed Henry and Margaret out. And you too, get out with your son. If you want a child, have your new daughter-in-law give you one. Don't even think about our Dash. Mid-sentence, he turned back and spat emphatically. I shouldn't have let you have your way back then. Look at that awful name you gave the child. That night, Marcus severely scolded Chloe at the villa entrance, driving her away. Cameron told me the company rejected her resignation letter and wanted her to continue as the executive assistant, but she refused. She said Chloe had been transferred to a different business unit by Marcus, and even her personal secretary had been replaced with a man. Cameron was very curious about my next move. Are you going to forgive him? No way, I answered without a shred of hesitation. Late affection is cheaper than grass. If he had done this a year ago, I might have said yes, but doing it now is completely useless to me. I don't have a habit of eating leftovers. The villa was like a huge magnet, drawing Henry and Margaret's gaze. At first, they cautiously lingered outside the villa, but later it turned into blatant surveillance. I'm neither gentle nor empathetic, and I have no upbringing whatsoever. So it should be perfectly reasonable for me not to let you in, right? Upon hearing this, Margaret wished she could find a hole to crawl into. You can come in to see the child, but there's a condition. What condition? Tell us. I pulled out a document. I want to divorce Marcus. As long as he signs, you can see the child as much as you like. Sounds like a good deal, doesn't it? Henry and Margaret fell silent, their faces crumbled as they looked at the divorce agreement. But before Marcus signed, Chloe, for the first time ever, called to ask me to meet her. At the coffee shop, Chloe wore a black suit skirt, black stockings, and high heels, her face showing the fatigue of a professional woman. She wasn't doing well at the company. The former, Madam-in-Waiting, was now a laughingstock, a toad wanting to eat swan meat. The fact that she hadn't resigned yet showed incredible resilience. Or rather, she was simply shameless. Seeing me, she didn't even exchange pleasantries. Why? Why did you come back? If you hadn't come back, I would have become Mrs. Marcus by now. You were just relying on being the original wife, and on having a son. Otherwise, you are no match for me at all. He was about to take the bait. I scoffed. My rival. Who sees you as a rival? You think too highly of yourself. Didn't you used to say you liked Marcus for who he was, and didn't care about legitimacy? Why are you so eager to take over now? Chloe's face was full of malice. What do you know? Grace, you just had better luck than me. Why do you get to marry Marcus while I'm ignored by him, even though I've tried so hard to get his attention? I have a lot of online loans and gambling debts. I was so close to winning him over. Why did you have to come back now? This is all your fault. If it weren't for you, I might already be Mrs. Marcus. You deserve to die. You and that bastard son of yours, you all deserve to die. I smiled at her, picking up the phone from the table. Did you hear that? Following my gaze, Chloe saw Marcus standing outside the cafe. She rushed out, desperately trying to explain to Marcus, but the anger and disgust in his eyes only deepened. Get out. Never appear before me again, or I won't let you off. Chloe fled, scampering away, terrified by Marcus' murderous gaze. Marcus looked at me, his eyes full of apology. Grace, I'm sorry, I cut him off. I told you, you don't need to explain to me. What you just said to her, that's what I want to say to you. Marcus, stay away from me and my child. Seeing you makes me sick. Because refused to divorce, I had no choice but to file for divorce in court. Dash would stay with me, but the Sterling family would have visitation rights. This was David's idea. Don't let good things go to outsiders. If Holdings, with all its vast assets, were to fall into the hands of someone else's bastard child in the future, that would truly benefit outsiders. Standing our ground for dignity, everything of Sterling's must belong to my grandson, Dash. I didn't care about Sterling's assets, but having one more person care about Dash wasn't a bad thing. When and Margaret learned they could visit the child anytime, they were so excited that they immediately transferred 20% of sterling shares to Dash's name, and another 10% to me, fearing I would go back on my word and prevent them from seeing the child. Cameron told me Chloe had become injured. She went to another city and resumed her old trade. This time, with her fragile innocent demeanor, she successfully won a boss' heart and quickly became his kept woman. But that boss was an abuser. During an act of cruelty towards Chloe, he accidentally injured one of her eyes, leaving her half blind. Afterward, the boss abandoned her, paying her off with just tens of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, Marcus had been relentlessly trying to remarry me, but I never intended to give him that chance. I know you didn't have any physical contact with Chloe, but that doesn't mean you are morally clean. You allowed another woman to harm your wife, and to me, that's an unforgivable sin. I married you because I loved you, but I'm divorcing you because I don't want to be hurt by you anymore. It has nothing to do with whether you love me or not. Seeing my firm stance, Marcus swore he would never marry again in this life, and that Dash would be his only son. But I didn't care how long that vow would last, because it no longer concerned me. When was just over a year old, he finally mumbled, "Grandpa and Grandma," which made Henry and Margaret so happy they gave Marcus a good dressing down. Probably due to their blood relation, every time Dash saw Marcus, he would give him a silly smile, and insist on being held. Marcus was terrified of Dash calling him Dad, because every time Dash called him Dad, I would correct him from the side. "That's Uncle, not Dad." Marcus was in agony. Many times, he even shed tears while holding the child, begging me not to say that. He probably regretted so much his intestines turned green, but I no longer cared. Endless forgiveness breeds unruly behavior, and after all, if you can't kill the dog, kicking it hard is the best solution. If you were me, what would you do? Leave your answer in the comment section. Thank you for listening. New episodes daily. Please subscribe.